All right, so today we're diving into something pretty major.
OpenAI,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
the folks behind ChatGPT,
Right.
they're making some pretty big waves right now, stepping into the world of military contracts.
Yeah.
And we're here to kind of unpack what that means for all of us.
It's a big deal. It is a significant development for sure, especially considering OpenAI's,
Yeah,
prominent role in AI in general.
exactly. And, it's easy to think of them as like the fun AI company.
Hmm.
They've got these chatbots that can write you poems and explain complex topics.
Right.
But things get a little more interesting when you look at this recent move of theirs
Yeah.
to actually start working with the U.S. military and national security agencies.
Yeah, it's a fascinating shift for sure. And
Yeah.
this isn't just about, teaching a chatbot to speak military jargon or something. We're talking about integrating OpenAI's technology, particularly like their advanced AI models like GPT-4,
Hmm.
into systems that could have real-world implications for cybersecurity and even, global conflicts.
Yeah. And GPT-4, for those who might not be as familiar,
Yeah.
is
Hmm.
their most advanced AI model yet. And honestly, even those of us who, we follow this stuff closely,
Yeah.
we don't even know the full extent of what it can do.
Right.
The fact that it's being used in classified projects tells you just how powerful it is.
Exactly. And it raises questions, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are they using it for?
Yeah. What are they using it for?
Like, what's the goal here? And, OpenAI is partnering with Carasoft, which is a company that essentially acts as a bridge between tech companies and government agencies,
Okay.
especially the Department of Defense.
Mm-hmm.
So this partnership is a clear indication that OpenAI is serious about getting its AI into the hands of the military.
Yeah. And to be fair, they are framing this whole thing as a commitment to cybersecurity,
Right.
keeping the military safe in the digital age.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I'm curious about where that line is drawn.
Mhm.
Does cybersecurity simply mean building, stronger digital defenses? Or could it involve using AI to identify and neutralize threats in a more, shall we say, proactive way?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It highlights how
Yeah.
the lines between offense and defense can get really blurry in the cyber realm. What might seem like a purely defensive tool in one context
Mm-hmm.
could very easily be used offensively in another.
Especially when you're talking about AI that's constantly learning and evolving.
Exactly.
And it's not just Carasoft that OpenAI is teaming up with.
Right.
They've also partnered with Microsoft, which, not a huge surprise there.
Sure.
But then there's Palantir.
Now, Palantir is a really interesting player in all of this.
Yeah.
They are known for their data analysis and intelligence gathering capabilities.
Mhm.
Think of them as the folks who can find that needle in a haystack of digital information. So we have OpenAI's AI potentially being combined with Palantir's data crunching power, all within the context of national security.
It definitely makes you wonder about the implications, doesn't it?
It does, for sure. It certainly warrants a closer look.
Yeah.
I mean, Palantir's history is interesting, to say the least. They've been involved in some pretty big
Yeah.
data analysis projects, and not all of them have been without controversy.
That's putting it mildly.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about a company that's provided technology that's been used for everything, from tracking immigration patterns to
Yeah.
predicting crime hotspots, and
Mhm.
those are just the applications we know about.
Exactly. And some of their projects have raised serious concerns about
Yeah.
privacy and the potential for bias.
Right.
For example, there were reports a few years back about Palantir's technology being used to help
Mhm.
ICE, immigration and customs enforcement
Yeah.
identify and potentially deport undocumented immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
And this raised a lot of ethical questions about how data is collected, analyzed, and then used to make decisions that have, a huge impact on people's lives.
It's one thing to use data to, say, improve traffic flow or,
Right.
target advertising.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start using it in ways that could potentially harm or infringe on people's rights,
Yeah,
that's a whole different ballgame.
absolutely. And that's why this partnership with OpenAI
Right.
is so intriguing and potentially, concerning.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about combining OpenAI's advanced AI,
Mm-hmm.
including their powerful language models that can, process and generate text in ways that are almost indistinguishable from humans,
Right.
with Palantir's ability to analyze vast amounts of data
Mm-hmm.
and identify patterns that might not be obvious
Right.
to human analysts.
So hypothetically, could this partnership lead to the development of AI systems that could be used to predict who might commit a crime
Wow.
or identify individuals who hold certain political beliefs.
Hypothetically, yes.
Yeah.
And that's where things get
Right.
really complicated. Because we're wading into territory where the line between
Right.
protecting national security and infringing on civil liberties becomes incredibly thin.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that AI systems are only as good as the data they're trained on.
Right.
So if that data is biased, or if it's used to target individuals or groups based on factors like race, religion, or political affiliation, then we're talking about a whole new level of surveillance and potential discrimination.
Yeah. It's a bit unsettling to think that we might be moving towards a future where algorithms powered by vast amounts of data and advanced AI could be used to make decisions that have such a profound impact on our lives.
It's a future we need to be thinking about critically right now.
Yeah.
You know, OpenAI might have the best of intentions.
Right.
But the potential for misuse is undeniable. And let's not forget, we're talking about technologies that are constantly evolving.
Right.
What might seem like a relatively benign application today could have
far-reaching consequences tomorrow.
So where does that leave us? I mean, if we can't simply trust that these technologies will be used for good, what can we do to ensure that they're not used in ways that harm individuals or erode our freedoms?
That's a question with no easy answers.
Right.
But it's a conversation that we need to be having.
Right.
You know, it's crucial that we demand transparency from both the companies that are developing these technologies and the government agencies that are using them. We need to understand how these systems are being trained, what data they're using, and what safeguards are in place to prevent misuse.
Transparency is a good start, but that's not enough, is it?
Right.
I mean, even if we know how these systems work, who's to say that those in power won't use them for their own purposes, regardless of the ethical implications?
You're right. Transparency is only one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
We also need to be having serious conversations about the ethical implications of these technologies.
You know, what are the limits of acceptable use?
Right.
Where do we draw the line between national security and individual privacy? These aren't easy questions, but they're questions we can't afford to ignore.
And these aren't just theoretical questions.
Right.
These are real-world issues that are playing out right now in courtrooms, in legislatures, and in our everyday lives.
Exactly.
You know, we've seen cases where facial recognition technology has been used to wrongly identify and arrest innocent people. We've seen how algorithms used in the criminal justice system can perpetuate racial bias. And we've seen how social media platforms can be used to manipulate public opinion and influence elections.
Right. It's becoming increasingly clear that we can't just sit back and hope for the best.
Right.
We need to be actively engaged in shaping the future of AI.
Yeah.
That means demanding accountability from those who are developing and deploying these technologies. And it means being informed and engaged citizens who are willing to speak out against misuse and advocate for ethical guidelines and regulations.
So while OpenAI's move into the military realm might seem like a news item that's easily dismissed as just another tech story, it's actually a microcosm of a much larger issue that we're all going to have to grapple with in the years to come.
Precisely. And it really underscores the need for critical thinking, for asking tough questions, and for demanding that those in power are held accountable for the choices that they make. Because the future of AI isn't something that's going to be decided for us. It's something that we all have a stake in shaping.
It's a lot to take in, isn't it?
It is.
We started with OpenAI, a company known for chatbots that can write poems. And now we're talking about the future of warfare, government surveillance, the very nature of privacy in the digital age.
It really is remarkable when you think about it, just how quickly this technology is advancing and how important it is to be engaged with these issues. You know, proactively. OpenAI's decision to work with the military and national security agencies, it's not an isolated incident. This is a sign of things to come.
So knowing what we know now, what can we as individuals actually do about it? Because it's easy to feel powerless, you know, when these massive shifts are happening, often behind closed doors.
You're not wrong. It can feel overwhelming. But, you know, awareness is the first step, and it's not a small one. Understanding the potential benefits and risks of AI, particularly as it becomes more integrated into areas like, you know, defense and security. That's crucial.
Okay.
From there, we can start demanding more transparency
Okay.
from the companies developing these technologies and the governments implementing them.
So more public pressure, more accountability.
Exactly.
But how do we even begin to have those conversations
Yeah.
on a societal level? When there's so much disagreement about even the basic facts surrounding AI,
Yeah.
it seems like everybody's got a different opinion on how dangerous it is, how quickly it's advancing what it even is.
It's true. There's a lot of noise out there.
Yeah.
And that's all the more reason to really focus on
Okay.
credible sources of information,
Okay.
to be critical of what we read and hear, and to engage in,
Right.
thoughtful discussions with others, even when we disagree.
Right.
Education is key here,
Okay.
both for ourselves and for our communities. The more we understand about AI,
Yeah.
the better equipped we'll be to navigate its complexities and advocate for its responsible development and use.
It's almost like we need a whole new set of ethical frameworks to guide us, right?
Yeah.
Our existing laws and social norms just weren't written with this level of technological advancement in mind.
Exactly. And those conversations are already happening.
Yeah.
We have ethicists, policymakers, and technologists all wrestling with these really complicated questions about bias in algorithms,
Right.
the use of AI in warfare, the potential for job displacement, the very nature of privacy in a world that's increasingly reliant on data collection.
Yeah.
These aren't easy problems to solve,
Right.
but the fact that they're being discussed
Right.
is a positive sign.
So while there's no clear roadmap for navigating this uncharted territory,
Right.
it sounds like staying informed, engaging in open dialogue, and advocating for responsible AI development seem like crucial steps.
Absolutely. The future of AI isn't predetermined. It's being written right now. And we all have a role to play in shaping it.
That's a powerful thought to end on. I like that.
Yeah.
So for all of you listening, next time you come across a headline about AI, whether it's about a new technological breakthrough or a concerning application,
Right.
remember this conversation.
Please.
Don't just scroll past.
Yeah.
Take a moment to consider the implications.
Think about it.
Because the more we engage with these issues,
Yes.
the better our chances of creating a future where AI benefits humanity as a whole.
Well said. The future of AI is not just about technological advancement.
Right.
It's about human choices and values and our collective responsibility to steer this incredibly powerful tool in a direction that serves the common good.
And that is where we'll leave it for today. This has been quite a deep dive.
It has.
I hope it's given you plenty to think about.
Yeah.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed.
Stay curious.
And most importantly, keep asking those tough questions.